Hi, everyone. My name is Michael, and I'm here to introduce ReferWell. It's a solution to help family doctors refer patients to specialists. Family doctors and primary care physicians routinely refer patients to specialists for further diagnosis and treatment, but the current process is inefficient and leads to delays and administrative burden. Our solution addresses two main problems. The first one is finding the specialist who is the best person to treat my patient. And the second part is generating the referral letter. And this includes what information do I need to send in order to help that specialist continue the diagnosis and treatment. The current state today, there are over 850 subspecialty types and over 750,000 specialists. So it's very time-consuming research that doctors put in order to find the best person to make that referral to. And a lot of it relies on word of mouth or people who have history. For a new physician particularly, it's quite daunting. The second part is sending over the information to the specialist. So EHRs or electronic health records do generate generic letters, but they're not personalized to either the patient or the specialist. Then leads to a lot of back and forth between administrative offices of the specialist and the family doctor. And in some cases, even duplicated tests where the specialist will perform the same test as the family doctor did. This is a big problem. In the US alone, there's approximately 714 million referrals made each year. Each referral takes around 27 minutes from the physician and the admins in order to send that information over. So the average cost is around $100 per hour. Physicians are obviously much more expensive, admins cheaper than this, but using this average cost, we would estimate the TAM to be around $74 billion problem per year. Our solution has three main agents. First one is the specialist search. So based on the symptoms that the doctor has indicated for the patient, we would find the most appropriate subspecialty. So searching through that 850, we have a taxonomy which defines what their areas of expertise are, and we match those up using a vector search. And then we find the closest specialist within the closest geographic location to that patient's home address. Second agent then does a chart review. We go through the patient's medical health or electronic health record, and we pull the most relevant information that specialist would require. An orthopedic surgeon would need different information than a cardiologist. And then the final piece is we generate a letter to that specialist, including all of the information and the symptoms for that patient. This is an agent diagram. I won't go through it in detail, but the main callouts here are we're using three data repositories. The first one is an electronic health record, which we're using an openly available FHIR API. FHIR is a standard that's used in healthcare for transmitting patient data. We're also using a vector database from DataStax. This has our taxonomy information. This is where we do our vector search to find the most appropriate subspecialty. And we also have a list of specialists. This comes from CMS in the US. So it's a 10 gigabyte CSV file that we parse to find the closest specialist to that patient. Now I'll pass it over to the demo. Okay, so this is the interface for ReferWell. So it's a chat interface, and this is what the doctor would see. And on the right-hand side, I just have a terminal up so you can see the output and what's happening behind the scenes. But the first thing that we ask for is the patient ID. So if I just type in here an ID for a patient, obviously if this was integrated into the EHR system, they wouldn't have to type that in. Next, we ask for the reason for the referral. So this is something that the doctor would type in. I have something prepared. So this is suspected cardiovascular problems, difficulty breathing, and chest pains. First of all, we're going to go out and we're going to find, based on these symptoms, which is the best specialist type. And we've returned a list of three here. So if we look at them, I think we're going to go in number 3. So that was the vector search part. Next, we go into the large repository of specialists, and here we filter by the subspecialty category. And then we try and find specialists that are within a certain geographic distance of the patient. We find the address of the patient from the health record. So you can see a number of specialists here. So I'm going to go with the first one. So I drew number 1 here. And next, on the right-hand side, you'll see our code that's generated on the fly. And this code is generated and then starts to find information from the electronic health record. So you can see here we have a lot of data that's returned. And I see our letter has already been generated on the left-hand side. But there's a lot of data here, too much to include in a letter. So what the final communication agent does is, based on the patient's data and the specialist type, it pulls out the most relevant information and generates the letter here. So you can see we have the referring doctor. We can see who the specialist that it's referring to and their address. And then you can see information about the patient, including some diagnosis information. For a cardiologist or a cardiac problem, they want to send some of the medication, some blood pressure measures to close out with some future directions. One possible way that we could improve our solution is, instead of the doctor having to type in the symptoms, we could take information from the ambient scribes, or these listening tools that our doctors are starting to use to collect information from patient visits. Second, we could use other information or other data to help with the specialist matching. We could use history, we could use their availability. One of the things we talked about was looking at the specialist ratings. There's a couple of different websites where patients can rate their doctors, and we could use that information. And the third and final piece is generating a letter to the patient to inform them about the referral. So this could be useful with communication, and also would be pretty simple to generate. So this is our team and our backgrounds, and yeah, excited to hear more. Thanks.